When I'm researching stocks, trying to find those 100% plus opportunities, I feel like I have an unfair advantage, like secret weapons. In this video, I'm going to share with you my favorite 2, coming up. It's always great to see your smiling face. At least you should be smiling, because these resources are going to jumpstart or accelerate your stock research process, getting you much closer to your rapidly growing, highly diversified net worth. And one video at a time, that's exactly what we're doing for you here on this channel. I actually created a complete stock research resource guide for you. All the tools I use, from the discovery process to complete analysis, from blank slate to fully developed investment thesis. So if a guide like that would help, you can download it at stockresearchguide.com. For now, I want to deep dive into 2 of the most powerful tools I use that have simplified my trading career compared to the time before I found them. They literally have cut the time it takes me to develop a solid investment idea by more than half, probably. One of the hardest parts of developing a sound investment idea is knowing on which of the tens of thousands of stocks out there to focus. These 2 tools both address that front-end problem, and they do so masterfully. I've been using this first one for over a year now, and can't imagine stock analysis without it. I found it when I was researching and trying out all different stock screeners. I was struggling to find one that really showed me everything. I didn't just want to know the basic information. I wanted to be able to deep dive, but at a glance. And I wanted a screener that could screen based on whatever metric I wanted. Honestly, I probably cycled back and forth between 20 to 30 different screener options trying to find a good fit. In fact, the first time or 2 that I tried the one I'm about to show you, I wasn't too sure about it. It's a lot to take in. I just didn't know how to use it. So I moved on to continue my search elsewhere. But luckily, something kept pulling me back until I finally figured out how to use it and then discovered its power. It was then that I realized I had found what I was looking for and so much more with Uncle Stock. Now, it's not as visually stunning as the next tool that I'm going to show you, but its depth of information is unmatched. And that is exactly what I need. Now, I'm just going to show you briefly behind the scenes of my account so that you can see what I'm talking about. But if you want a full-on tutorial, because I'll try my best to limit myself here, I get excited because it really is pretty awesome. But I can do that full-on tutorial. I can do that in another video. Just let me know if you're interested. If so, I'd love to deep dive into either one of these tools, or any tool you want me to really show you absolutely everything that they can do. So let's take a look. So here we are inside Uncle Stock, inside my account. I just want to show you a few things really quick so that you get an idea of how powerful this tool really is. First of all, you can look at the stock screener capability. You click on refine query, and you can see all the different ways that you can break down your search based on all the different markets around the world, based on the sectors, subsectors, and industries. You can break it down however you'd like it. You can really narrow your niche, your search down, however makes sense based on what you're looking for. You can choose to include or exclude the over-the-counter markets. You can include or exclude foreign markets. You have a lot of powerful capabilities here. But what I love is how many conditions you can look through. There's like 2,500, more than 2,500 different variables, different metrics that you can search from. And like I said, this was overwhelming for me at first, and it might be for you as well. Just focus on the things that you know and what you want this to do, and over time you'll probably find value from some of the other features as well, and you may even just start to pick up on and learn what some of these other things are. But I could come in here and say that I want one of my conditions to be, for example, so here you can see all these different categories. that you can search by, and different views based on some professional investors that you can use to search. But let's say I want to look at EV EBITDA, and if you aren't familiar with that metric, I did a video on it, and I'll link out to that. But you can come into the valuation metrics, you can scroll down to EV EBITDA, there it is, and then you have all these different time periods that you can search through, and when you hover over it explains them. I want to do it based on last year, and let's say I want one that is less than 5. Let's say I want it to be on companies with a market cap that is less than 2 billion. So I do that, so it's small cap companies, that's greater than, so switch that. Small cap companies that have an EV/EBITDA ratio of under 5. So there's your criteria, and then up here I can rank them based on whatever I want. I could rank them based on their earnings yield. I could rank them based on this defaulted to the Piotrowski score, which is a famous investor if you're not familiar with them. You can rank it however you want, so that your search results, if there are thousands, you get the ones based on whatever this category is, and they come up first. So this search capability, this screening capability is amazing, and its potential is amazing. But once you've run your search, then I want to show you some of the wealth of information that you'll find down here at the bottom. And this is a company that I recently did a report on, or did a video on. You can find it on, I guess if I can, I'll link out to it here as well. And definitely in the description. This is the most recent stock analysis report that I did. But look at how much information you have. Again, might seem overwhelming at first, but once you get used to it, you really value that in this one place you can find whatever information you need. So you have your charts, you have some technical analysis tools if you want to use them. You have this summary over here on the side that's always there. You can hover over any of these metrics, and they tell you why they're important. They tell you what they think is a strong metric, what's weak, and they tell you what variables are going into many of them. You can go into the fundamental overview to see a snapshot of the company. You get the description. This is usually where I start whenever I'm going through my search query. Once I'm trying to sort through those stocks, I usually start here to see if it's a company that I'm interested in. And it gives me several of the most important valuation metrics and yields, things that I might want to quickly at a glance look at that might say this is probably potentially a good opportunity, or really quick, it's not a good opportunity. For example, they have a couple bankruptcy metrics, and so if I just don't want to touch anything that has a super high risk of bankruptcy because it has so much debt, it's not a very healthy company, then I can see that here. So anyway, you have your overview here, and then you have your fundamental details, and this is where you will find absolutely everything that you could possibly want to know. It's all those same metrics that you could use to screen a company, but as you click on them, so if I come in and find the valuation ratios, the yields, I go to EV/EBITDA, it's going to change the information over here on this side of the screen to show me different metrics or different numbers that go into this calculation. So if I wanted to see what made up enterprise value, I could click on that, and then it's going to take me even further into the process. It's showing me historically where it's been. Like I said, a lot of information, but it's super valuable to have it all right there at your fingertips. You can also get an overview of the company, which I also use. There's that description again, but you can find their website where you can go to get investor relations. You can see their sector and their industry, and I can use this information to find competitors, companies that are the same size in the same industry, and that'll help me know if this company really is under or overvalued, because you can't really look at the market. You need to look at their closest competitors to see if that's true. Anyway, there's so much more to this, and I would love to do a deeper dive. If that's something that you think would be valuable, just let me know in the comments if that's the case. Now, full disclosure, I don't rely on these numbers 100%. I don't rely on any tool's numbers 100%. I've seen companies as reputable as Morningstar get it wrong. I actually had to sort through that discrepancy with the company's legal counsel, but that's a story for another time. I'll often just end up calculating the ratios myself, pulling the raw data from the company's annual or quarterly reports. But this, better than any other tool I've seen, saves me so much time by aggregating every data point I could possibly want into one place, helping me identify stocks that are worth my time to go into their annual and quarterly reports to pull out those numbers and pull it all into a spreadsheet. This tool helps me get to that point. My second tool, my second secret weapon for stock research and analysis, is called Simply Wall Street. Simply Wall Street provides a good balance to Uncle Stock. Uncle is insanely comprehensive and complex, while Simply is much more, well, simple. It's refined and polished in the areas that matter most to me and probably most value investors. Again, for a deeper dive, I'd love to. Just let me know in the comments if that would be helpful for you. But for now, let's jump behind the screen again and just take a brief look inside. All right, so here we are inside Simply Wall Street. And the first thing that probably stands out is this circle chart with the 5 different categories around the outside and the color blob in the middle. And that is a unique tool that Simply Wall Street has created to help you visualize these stocks and to help you quickly assess whether or not there's opportunity there. So I want to run through it really quick with you because it's pretty essential to understanding how this tool works. And then, like I said, I will quickly touch on some other features, but I'll try to make it brief. So there's 5 different categories that they're looking at for any particular stock. Here's that stock that we pulled up in Uncle Stock, the one that I've done an analysis on, High Crush Partners. And there, when you look at each of these 5 categories, there are 6 check boxes, 6 criteria that they're searching for within each of these categories. So you can hover over them and see how High Crush scored in each of these areas. And if you want to know more information, you can just click on it and it will take you down to that area, or you can just scroll through this full infographic to gain insight into this company. And like I said, this is much more visually appealing. It helps you understand the company. And if you're new to stock analysis and you're new to this channel and you haven't had an opportunity to learn about some of these metrics that they're talking about here, Simply Wall Street has this beginner mode button over here that you can turn on, and it explains a lot of the metrics that they're walking you through, the process that they went through, so that you can understand why they have measured things in a certain way, why they think certain things are important, and why you probably should as well. Something that is pretty cool about this tool is its ability to easily conduct a side-by-side comparison. And as with all the things on Simply Wall Street, it's a visual comparison, which is pretty nice. One of the companies that I found that was probably the closest competitor in this space when I was searching on Uncle Stock was US Silica Holdings, and it happened to show up right here. So I can just click compare and it'll pull up a side-by-side comparison showing that same infographic, but you can see the information side by side. So I can see how their health compares, I can see how their dividends compare, and I can use that in my analysis process, and I can use that information to see if I really do think, based on that research, that High Crush is undervalued or if silica is undervalued, and I can get that better visual, and I can come up here and I can add more companies to this comparison and continue to stack them side by side so that I can see them all next to each other, visually see how they compare. And one final thing that I want to show you about Simply Wall Street is its screener tool and how it could be used as a screener. I use Uncle Stock more as my initial screener, but sometimes it can get overwhelming and a little hard on the eyes staring at that screen of numbers so long. And so I need a fresh perspective. I need to take a break and look at things from a different view. And that's what I love about Simply Wall Street. It's just a totally different perspective, a totally different view on the market. So when you use their screener, you get this visual comparison on the surface level of just that snowflake. And you can use that snowflake as the screening tool itself. For example, when you click on ideas here, they have all these different pre-built screeners that are based around the snowflake, and they outline what that actually means. Or you can come into a new filtered view and you can create your own screen. And for example, if you are a deep value investor, you may want to pull the value part of the snowflake all the way up and it's going to show you the companies that fit in there. And if you want to only look at specific market caps, you can adjust that down here. And if you want to find something with a deep value with a dividend, you can do that as well. You could just look for healthy companies. All of this, it's a great visual, easy way to analyze stocks or to go through the discovery process to find opportunities and ideas that are worth your time to pursue. So like I said, we could do a much deeper dive tutorial, and I would love to in the future. If that's something that would help you, just let me know. We just went through surface level, really surface level information with both of those tools. I wanted to share both of those tools with you because when I'm in the stock discovery process, it's not one or the other of these tools. I use them both every time. I may mix it up a bit as to which one I start with, but I'm going back and forth as they each provide me with unique and valuable perspective as my idea continues to develop into a full-on investment thesis. I hope these tools are as helpful for you as they have been for me. I'd love to hear about what you use in your stock selection process. Let me know in the comments. Do you have a go-to resource, your secret weapon? And don't forget, if you'd like the complete list of all the resources like these that I use to go from blank slate to fully developed investment thesis, go to stockresearchguide.com. If you're new here, I hope you can see that I'm all about helping you build your rapidly growing, highly diversified net worth. And if that's something you want, then don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell. Like and share this video if you found it helpful, and keep learning. Keep taking those steps to build your net worth. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.